In my last video, we had been exploring and camping in Walter, getting him ready for our trip. Walter had also been the best van at Christine's and my wedding before we headed west in our new camper. Apparently, there was a family pool on where we would break down and be towed home. Between Sault Ste. Marie and Wawa, Walter started losing power and the gas gauge was dropping quickly. I pulled over and checked the motor, but I could not find anything out of the sorts. With a short rest, once we got back on the highway, Walter ran like a champ again. We were concerned that we had burned too much fuel and we would not make it into Wawa, but running on fumes, we made it to the first gas station into Wawa. This kept happening, and I would stop, let the motor cool down, and it would run well for a few hours. I even changed out the airflow sensor, but it kept getting worse. Finally, for some reason, I disconnected the oxygen sensor, and Walter was back to his old self. We ordered a new oxygen sensor to be delivered to my brothers in Calgary and continued on our way. Although we had taken Walter on many outings, we lived about 9 kilometers off the highway, and we had always gone far enough into the bush when camping that the motor and the transmission had had plenty of time to warm up before asking Walter's automatic transmission to go into third gear. On our first day, we made it past Wawa and camped about 500 meters off the highway down this tiny path that we found on iOverlander. It was a very beautiful spot beside the lake, and we had it all to ourselves. The next morning, when we made it to the highway, Walter would not shift into third gear until the transmission had a chance to fully warm up. But once the transmission was warm, it shifted into third gear and Walter ran like a champ all day. But this did have us concerned. The second night, we found a nice spot a few kilometers down a very washboardy gravel road. It was by a lake, and we were able to have a dip to cool off. Thanks to this guy, we had a much better ride on the way out the next day. The third and the fourth night we spent at Tall Pines Lodge, right at the Manitoba border. Both nights we had some very interesting guests, and we spent the day exploring the area. When we got back on the road, we made it across Manitoba and halfway across Saskatchewan, and we tried a camping spot a few kilometers out on a peninsula, this very shallow lake. When we got to the camp spot, we noticed the abundance of bird life, not only by the view, but by the smell. We decided to keep traveling, but we really did enjoy this detour. Being fans of the show Corner Gas, we decided to continue to the fictional town of Dog River, in the real town of Rouleau, Saskatchewan. We got in late, the trains kept us up all night, and we headed out early. We didn't find there was much to stick around for. With an early morning start, we were making really good headway, and I thought, we might make it to Calgary no problem, but when this guy passed me, I thought it might be an omen, and maybe we should get a picture of that sign.
I believe this is Alberta. We're just entering it. We're almost in Calgary, and we can see the far off, the big mountains. I'm excited.
When my brother came to visit us just before my wedding, he got a chance to experience Walter, and I think he caught the Westfalia fever, because the day after we got to Calgary, he had me crawling under a 1991 Volkswagen Westfalia that he was interested in, and ended up bringing home.
I did.
The day after that, my brother took us on a little expedition down to the town of Waterton, where we got to hike around the lake, got to see a bunch of riders on horseback, did some hiking by a waterfall, and got to see my niece present a really interesting presentation that night. I didn't notice it at the time, but now looking at the pictures, it certainly looks like my brother, myself, and my niece were all wearing a uniform.
Highway 40.
After installing the new oxygen sensor, Walter was running even better. But
Alberta, yes.
with the transmission still being problematic when cold, we did not want to risk going too far into the mountains. So after stocking up on food, we headed off into the foothills of the Rockies, up Forestry Trunk Road, Highway 40. And if you're wondering where we are,
after 300 meters, turn slightly left onto Township Road 312A.
These are wild horses. Beautiful. Oh my God. Oh my God, they're beautiful, eh? Wow. Wow. God, you're beautiful. Look at the hair, the mane on them. Hi! Oh, there's a fire pit right there. Oh, this is a nice spot. And there's the river. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna stay here, eh?
I think we're on the Red Deer.
road we're going to be doing.
While we were in the switchbacks, this pickup truck came up behind us quite quickly, so I pulled over and let him pass, and then he slowed down in front of me. And we were eating his dust, so I pulled over and let him disappear into the distance and let his dust settle. Well, with the brakes getting warm, I thought it was a good time to put the extra gas in the fuel tank. Well, we made it to the Icefield Highway and Highway 11 in Alberta. Today is the first day of September. Sorry, first Thursday of September. And we made it to this little camping spot.
This is our campsite tonight. It's Thursday. Walter did very well today. We have a little fire pit, but it's just too warm, so we're not going to be making a fire. That's okay. We'll enjoy the nice river beside us and the winds and the mountains. See?
Christine preparing supper. We're having
noodles. Extra spicy noodles. With some pork tenderloin. There we go. Cool. I like this.
Oh, you gotta love this spot. So this is dinner. Noodles.
Pork tenderloin. White wine. Some tomatoes and carrot. We had a charcuterie board before this as appetizer too. But bon appetit, everyone. The bird is just like in the wind, flying in the wind. Wow. Good morning, lovely people. We are now riding through Banff National Park. And Lake Louise, I believe, is in about 70 kilometers from here.
Although we understand that the touristy areas are very, very beautiful, we're not a big fan of crowds, so we just stuck to the less populated areas.
Climbing, my ears are popping.
Check out the bridge just coming up. Wildlife for wildlife.
Love the architecture.
Yeah.
At this point, we were on our way back to Calgary to go help my brother fix up and get his new to him Westfalia ready for camping so that we could go off and spend a weekend together exploring more of the foothills of the Rockies. So if you want to see the video of Walter and Daisy going camping, check out the next video I'm going to be putting out in a little while.